Today I'll share my top 3 exercises to start in the second trimester to avoid pelvic floor damage from birth like tearing and prolapse. My name is Sophie and I'm a pelvic health physiotherapist specialized in maternity care. And if you would like to get the exercise program in this video in a written format, just so you can refer to it for your home practice, just type help in the comments below and we will send it to you for free. All right, so let's get started. The first exercises will be the vagina berry picking, which I'll explain in a second. This is the #1 exercise I recommend to pretty much all of my clients who get started with pelvic floor training in pregnancy, because it's really about creating a connection with your pelvic floor muscles, which most people have never done prior to pregnancy, right? And at the same time, this exercise will help prepare your pelvic floor for labor and birth, and I'll explain why as we go. But for now, let's get started. What you will do is straddle a rolled towel or like some kind of, it could be like a shirt or something. So you will straddle that. Right now I'm sitting on the floor, but you could be sitting on a chair as well. It doesn't really matter. What we're doing when we're sitting on something bulky is that we're adding pressure on our pelvic floor muscles around our vagina, and that helps us connect with the contraction and the release if you're really not connected to that part. So now take an in breath. And on the out breath, you want to pretend that you pick up a berry with your vagina and lift it up without squishing it. And on the inhale, release the berry and bring it back down on the rolled towel. Did you feel the perineum moving on the towel as you were contracting? And then did you feel it coming back when you were releasing? This is really our starting point here. So that's really important to feel that. You may want to try it again. So inhale, exhale, squeeze and lift. Feel the perineum coming up. Inhale, let go and release. And if it all feels very overwhelming right now, make sure you type help in the comments below and we will send the step-by-step instructions for all of these exercises for free. So it's a no-brainer. You should definitely get it. And I really like to leave at least 1 or 2 breaths in between the reps to really allow my pelvic floor to fully release before contracting again. Because honestly, if your goal is to prepare your pelvic floor for birth and avoid tearing, I cannot put more emphasis on connecting with the release of your pelvic floor in pregnancy. Because releasing your pelvic floor is exactly what you'll need to do during the pushing stage to prevent tearing. So spend a lot of time connecting with that part and get confident with it. So let's repeat this a few more times to get more confident. So inhale, exhale, squeeze and lift your pelvic floor, picking up the berry. As soon as you inhale, you're just letting go. And really sending that breath in the belly. Again, inhale, exhale, pick up the berry, lift it up, don't squish it, and let go. 2 breaths of relaxation. So I recommend doing this exercise 10 times and repeating twice a day. So that will end up being 20 reps a day, separated in 2 sets. If that makes sense. Doesn't matter if you're sitting or lying down. Some people have different preferences about connecting with their pelvic floor. Whichever works for you in terms of feeling these muscles squeezing and releasing. The second exercise is what I call pelvic floor breathing. And the goal is really to just help unwinding tensions in the pelvic floor. Because yes, as women, we tend to hold tension in our pelvic floor muscles, which can then work against us in the pushing stage during birth, because what we want is a nice, soft, flexible pelvic floor for your baby to come out easily without tearing, versus a tight, tense pelvic floor that would not offer any room to stretch, therefore is more likely to tear. Does that make sense? So we will do what we call diaphragmatic breathing to help our pelvic floor unwind. So again, sitting on the rolled towel that we had in the previous exercise. So I'm just gonna put my towel back. And I want you to put your hands on your belly button here, or your belly bump, and just try and send your breath down in your abdomen and feel your bump moving out with the in-breath and back in with the out-breath. Just feeling that movement. If you're not feeling it, that means you're keeping your breath here in the chest. We really want to send the breath as deep as we can into the belly. That's the first part to master. If this is still hard for you, you might need to work on that a little longer. Sometimes people find it easier to be on their back and have a bit of weight on the bump, like it can be a little bean bag or something that you can appreciate the movement. That would be the first step. And now that we have mastered that part, let's pay attention to what our pelvic floor does during that time. So on the in-breath, feel your pelvic floor breathing onto the rolled towel as it expands outward. And on the out-breath, your pelvic floor should recoil back up gently. So inhale, pelvic floor expands. Exhale, it comes back up naturally. This movement of your pelvic floor should happen naturally and automatically for as long as you're breathing onto your belly. You should not have to actively push on your pelvic floor or contract it in order to feel that movement happening. This is just really a natural relationship between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor that happens. So I find that visualizing your pelvic floor as a trampoline can be helpful. So picturing a little trampoline going down with the inhale and recoiling back up with the exhale and feeling that movement here. It's very subtle. It's not going to be like, oh, right, like I feel it a lot. It's going to be super subtle. Even when I'm speaking to you, I have trouble like feeling it because I really need to concentrate and close my eyes, and really adding pressure with the towel is super helpful for this exercise. So in summary, on the in-breath, everything expands outward together in a synchronized way. Belly bump and pelvic floor, right? The belly bump is going outward, the pelvic floor as well. And on the in-breath, everything comes back in. In-breath, out-breath. In-breath, out-breath. Some of my clients even use their hands as they're doing this exercise to really kind of embody it. So in-breath, open your arms. Out-breath, coming in. Got it? So I recommend doing this exercise a few times a week and do 10 diaphragmatic breaths in the belly during your session. And the goal with this exercise is to release pelvic floor tensions to prepare for birth and reduce the risk of tearing. And the last exercise I would recommend is the deep squat release. And it's one of my go-to exercises to prepare for birth because not only it helps unwinding the tensions in the pelvic floor, but it's also a great hip and pelvis opener in preparation for labor. So you will get into a deep squat position. Knees can be oriented outward, and you can put some support under your calves or your heels, if your calves are too tight to sustain this position. You can also add 1 or 2 yoga blocks as needed for comfort, especially if your bump is getting in the way and it's uncomfortable. Now, let go of your pelvic floor. Maybe trying your pelvic floor breathing exercise that we just practiced. Really focusing on letting go around the vagina here. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. Just use as many props as you need. And breathe into your pelvic floor. Let it open, let it drop. You can picture a flower blooming in this area. Whatever helps, but don't hold tension. 10 breaths here. And as you're doing your 10 breath, I just want to say that squatting is also one of the #1 labor positions I recommend in labor before the crowning stage, because it helps opening the pelvis for a baby to move down, and it has gravity in its favor. So if you have not practiced squatting throughout your whole pregnancy, I can't guarantee that you'll be able to just pop a squat like this in labor. So that's why it's important to keep practicing throughout your pregnancy. So doing 10 breaths here and doing that once a day. And you can do it, while watching TV or reading a book, trying to incorporate it as much as you can in your daily life. If you're a gardener, you can even squat while you're gardening, whatever that is. I think there's very creative ways that my clients have come up to integrate their squats in their habits. Again, if you would like to get this exercise program in an easy written format with all of the instructions, just type help in the comments below and we will send it to you for free. Or if you want to download it now, there's a link in the description below as well to grab it. I hope this was helpful and thanks for watching.